Hello there, my name is Patty, and today I'll be ranking some sapphic TV ships. Recently, I've been trying to figure out how I can make more original content because I'm a bit scared of the copyright police. So I came to a conclusion: what's more original and unique than a tier list? No one has ever done this before. I'm definitely the first to ever do it. Yeah, technically, basically, you could say I just wanted an excuse to yap about sapphic ships for an entire video, and that's what we're gonna do today. I think it goes without saying that this will be an incredibly biased video. I will not be ranking these ships based on the same categories or the same parameters. No, I'll be just ranking these ships based on personal attachment, personal bias, and everything in between. I went ahead and created my own template, my own tier list, and I also made it available for the public. So if you follow the link in the description, you can check out that tier list and do it yourself. Just do it! And I'm also encouraging you to kind of go in the comments and maybe tell me why you have personal bias or personal attachment to some ships. Are there some ships in here that helped you learn some things about yourself, discover things about yourself? I'd be very interested in that. Also, camera angle is slightly different than what you're usually used to because I'm standing up. My desk is actually a stand-up desk, and I can count on one hand the amount of times I've actually stood at this desk, so I figured I need to stand on business today. Talking and yapping about my favorite ships, I need to be grounded. Alright, this right here is my tier list. I created 6 tiers, and I have 31 ships that we can sort in there. Starting at the bottom, channeling my inner Abby Miller right now, is the not for me category. Not my personal favorites, but I accept them and acknowledge them as existing ships. Followed by the 5th category, which would be good for them. It's kind of similar. It's a good for them. Like, that's a good ship. Love that for them. Maybe I see the vision, but the vision never reached me. Followed by what I call kind of my cop-out category. It's the I wish I'd been your writer category. I would have given you a better storyline. I would have given you that kiss. I feel like a lot of non-canon ships could potentially end up in there. If I don't know where to put something, I'll just put it in there. We're reaching the top 3, which are all kind of similar. So the first one would be good soup. Good soup. This is the category for ships that I love, were important on my personal journey, that are overall good soup. Top 2 tiers. We've got the rent-free tier. This ship lives rent-free, or maybe for a portion of my life lived rent-free in my mind. Maybe it still does and still is rent-free in here, in that little old noggin. To top it all off, the biggest, bestest category ever is the legendary lovers category, which, yes, is a reference to the Katy Perry song that is currently going viral as an editing audio. Every time I see an edit with that song, I like it. This category is for ships that permanently altered my brain chemistry, that permanently influenced and changed my life. That's a very dramatic way to put it. Or also ships that I think just had a huge impact, not just on me, but on everything else as well. We've got 31 ships in here. Most of these are probably like 2015 and upwards. Technically, Gemily probably is the only like pre-2010 ship in here. I also wanted to have kind of the variety in there and have some non-canon ones that I can yap about as well. Alright, now that we've established a tier list, it is time to get into it, and time for me to put my thinking hat on and start sorting and ranking these ships. Alright, let's get started. I think they might be in alphabetical order now that I'm looking at it. So the first one is Agatha and Rio. I'm immediately thinking top 3 because they consumed me. There are amazing thicks on AO3 on them. Their chemistry, Catherine Hahn, Aubrey Plaza in general, I don't think we have to really unpack that. I think for now we're gonna go with rent-free. They were rent-free in my mind. They still kind of are. Just the whole doomed Yuri of it all, you know? Lady Death, falling in love with a witch, but technically they're both witches, but then they had a child that was totally their child, and then Death had to take the child away. Like, there's so much toxicity but love in there, and doomed Yuri.
This is the best day of my life. I'm killing myself tomorrow.
I think the fact that it's a Marvel couple too, kind of the first, maybe we're gonna revisit them later. Moving on, we've got Ava and Debra from Hacks. Right now I'm recording this at a time where I haven't finished the final season. From where I'm standing, that's some age gap Yuri. They feed off of each other so well. The writing in general is so fun. Hacks is such an underrated show, and I fully get why they're always in the awards conversation, and love Hannah Einbinder for that Emmy speech.
Go Birds, fuck ICE, and free Palestine. Thank you.
From where I'm standing, I don't think they will ever be fully canon, in the sense that I don't think the show will end with them in a relationship. I do believe, though, that for some people they maybe are canon, but I love them as a ship. I think that is some good soup. They have the chemistry, the history. They are good soup. Okay, next one on the list in alphabetical order is Ava Lance, or Sarah and Ava from Legends of Tomorrow. I'm thinking we're just gonna do all the Arrowverse ships right now. I guess it's time to share some personal Patty lore. I'm not sure if I've ever kind of fully said that out loud, but my first introduction to fandom culture and to kind of watching an American TV show as someone from Germany was Arrow. I remember I was like 12 when the show premiered in Germany, and I just found it in a, you know, back then we had those TV magazines, and I looked at it and I was like, oh, this sounds fun, like a Robin Hood thing. And I was immediately in it and invested, and I kept watching Arrow, and then obviously all the spin-offs and Flash and Supergirl and Legends of Tomorrow and all of it, but eventually kind of really like frizzled out. But it was a huge part of my adolescence. Like those ages, like 12 until like 16, I still think a lot of people that I went to high school with, they'll probably still remember me as the weird, like, comic superhero Marvel girl. That kind of was my whole personality in high school. Yeah, kind of embarrassing looking back at it now.
Are you not embarrassed? This is really embarrassing.
Technically, I always wanted to learn video editing because of fan edits, and I think the Arrowverse edits were kind of like the first fan edits I consumed. So, as embarrassing as I kind of find it to be attached to a CW universe, CW show, I now have a career in video editing, so kind of thankful for that. Little discourse. Back to Ava and Sarah, and I think this is going to be extremely controversial, because I'm just gonna put them here. I realized that it's very nice that we had a couple that was so consistent and strong for multiple seasons. I feel like often the appeal behind a ship is kind of the whole, will they get together, when will they get together, and then usually they get together towards the end of a show and you never fully experience them as a couple. Ava and Sarah are kind of an exception because we got to experience them as a couple for a very long time. We got to see them get engaged, married. We got a glimpse, well, the show ended, I believe, with Sarah being pregnant, but we also got a glimpse into the future where they talked to their future daughter. So that's incredibly cool, and that is something that we don't get with a lot of sapphic ships. And it pains me to say this, but I have a thing with blonde couples. It's always a bit uncanny to me when two blonde people are coupled up together. It's a horrible reason, but that's just it for me. We had an amazing journey with them. It was so great seeing them kind of go from enemies to lovers to wives to everything. Good for them, I guess. Okay, I said we're just gonna follow it up with other Arrowverse couples. Next one would be nysaa. I decided to include them because that is my first exposure, I believe, to a queer couple on television. 12 or 13-year-old me was sitting in front of the TV and was like, no, what the hell is that?
It's good to know I've got options.
Honestly, out of all Arrowverse characters, Sarah might be my favorite, but it feels wrong to put them higher than an actual, like, established couple with a good ending. But the chemistry and the backstory, I'm tempted to put them higher than Ava Lance. I remember that scene from, is it Oliver's funeral? It's someone's funeral, and nysaa introduces Sarah. This is Sarah, my beloved. And I was sitting there like, huh.
Ryan!
That's also, I think, always the appeal with non-canon couples, because the potential, the simmering potential of what could have been sometimes kind of outweighs the actual canon storyline that you see of a different couple that's amazing. And but kind of the, you know, the unsaid things with a non-canon couple or the couple that you see less of. But it feels horrible. I'm gonna do it. Controversial. Please don't kill me. Another Arrowverse couple here. Here they are, obviously. Supercorp. Let's open that can of worms. Part of me is gonna say, like, I wish I'd been your writer, but I actually think I'm also gonna put them here because they are good soup. Still kind of crazy to me that the writers just didn't go there. Like, that's queerbait. I'm sorry. It really feels like queerbait. Well, I think the issue with Supergirl in general is that they didn't really make a Supergirl show. It really felt like watching a female Clarke Kent at times. I've seen edits and other like comparisons where people took parallels from the Superman comics, so scenes that Lois and Clarke got, and compared them to scenes that Lena and Kara got, and it's insane. Like, it's a carbon copy. They took actual inspirations from Superman and Lois, which is the like canon relationship. And they gave the same kind of subtext to Kara and Lena, and they really expected people not to ship.
But you did this for what? Why not? Why? Why not? Why though?
So for me, they are a good soup. They are a good ship. Even if you're not fully like familiar with them, just look at one edit. Like, it's there. The chemistry is there. The subtext, everything is there. That's it with the Arrowverse. I'm not sure if I should maybe shuffle them in here as well, because I think Supercorp, honestly, kind of, yeah, let's do it like that. Next ship we're gonna look at is Beatrice, and I'm one of the founding mothers of Beatrice. I will never ever accept anything else. I was there from the very beginning. The day it came out at 9 a.m. sharp, I was sitting down to watch it. I was immediately captured by how unique and cutesy and silly and fun this show was. I sat down the very same day.
And I sat down with the president of Disney Channel and I said, I want to make history. And that's what this is.
And made the first crack video, the first kind of like fandom content for Warrior Nun. I was incredibly proud of it. I saw the vision immediately. They live rent-free in my mind. They are such an amazing, underrated couple and pairing. The doomed Yuri of it all. Yeah, no, I can't talk about them too much because then maybe I will fall down the rabbit hole again. But they were so unique and like gay ninja nuns. Like when are we getting that back? I don't think we'll ever get that back. One of my biggest losses when it comes to Netflix. Next one is going to be Brittany, and that just comes up here. Rest in peace, Naya Rivera. I don't think we have to further discuss that. I met them during a time where I was pretty deep in kind of a internalized homophobia phase. Not proud that I was there, but I think a lot of us were there, so didn't fully appreciate them at the time because I was busy being a little hater. They carried Glee. It was so, just in general, also Santana's storyline with kind of, you know, coming to terms with everything. They are legendary if you ask me.
Pretty legendary if you ask me. I love it.
Next one I'm seeing is Kate Vi. For me, they have to go into the rent-free category. Oh, legendary love. Honestly, maybe just because of League of Legends, they should go in the legendary lovers category. They consumed my life last year when I was watching Arcane, posting the reaction videos to it. You can check those out. They kind of ruined other ships for me for a while. They're not really like enemies, but like forced proximity, forced to work together for a, I guess, common goal that then also changes and then kind of torn apart on opposite sides of a huge conflict, kind of on the same side of the same conflict. It's just very complicated back and forth. They got their happy ending, which is something I was afraid they were not gonna get. I'm still kind of surprised that they got it. It was such an interesting, cutesy, I will say cutesy, even though Arcane is not necessarily cutesy, but their connection was very like innocent and very, very cute from the beginning, and then we had so much conflict in between, and I'm just so glad that the writers gave them the opportunity to I guess work it out. They are rent-free, but they're also, for me, kind of bordering on legendary lovers. Next one I'm gonna do is Calliope from First Kill, and I'm just gonna leave him here. I thought about First Kill a lot and I reacted to it. I'm not sure if those reactions are still up. Maybe I've privated them. In my reactions to First Kill, I was really pretending to love it way more than I actually did. Confession.
It was all a lie. Guys, it was all a lie.
Now when I look back and think about First Kill, all that comes to mind is how some of the writing and some of the acting and a lot about the show was a bit cringe, which is not bad. It definitely is not bad. Honestly though, maybe I'll put them here low-key. Yeah, honestly, maybe I'll actually put them there because I wish that we'd gotten like another season with maybe a bit more nuance sprinkled in there. I don't know. Love the Doomed and the Star-Crossed Lovers. That is something that I really love, Star-Crossed Lovers. I'm just thinking the show in general wasn't the best writing and the best like execution, so maybe let's put it there. Followed by an instant rent-free for me, that's Casey, and Izzie from Atypical. The only reason why I watched Atypical, honestly, enemies to best, friends to lovers, it was such a good first kiss and the angst. They were so angsty, it was so cute, and it was so wholesome and also innocent because they were also so young, like high school and then going off to college, and they were each other's support systems. So cute. The pinky hand holding in the car. So they did cheat on Evan, but it happens, you know.
I encourage cheating.
Never let your boyfriend stop you from finding your wife.
Bruh.
Breakup in the final season, that really pissed me off though. Why was he doing all that? Your relationship is ruining Casey's like commitment to the sport and to school and whatever. I don't even remember what kind of weird things he came up with. They were incredibly important and they live rent-free in my mind, and their chemistry was amazing, and we got so many like iconic moments from them. Yeah, rent-free, nothing more to say. And I think we all know where this is going.
We all know where this is going. Let's be honest.
Lexa to me is incredibly important for my personal journey. To me, they are legendary lovers. Not just to me, if you really think about it, Lexa sparked such a huge debate and such a movement online. I mean, we got ClexaCon out of it, which offered such a safe space platform for the queer community. So Lexa is legendary lovers, don't even argue about it with me. If we're talking about the ship in general, we're talking star-crossed lovers, enemies to lovers, both in these leadership positions. And then obviously we have a death trope and a bury your gaze trope on top of it all. Basically, Maddie is the Lexa child. Don't even argue about that. So that is also such an incredible development in the later seasons, and that she never fully got over Lexa because that's the love of her life. We got the Lexa reunion. Thank you, Alicia Carey, for that one. They are legendary lovers. I have personal attachment to them. In the past, I did have a severe case of internalized homophobia. So I remember when Lexa got together on the 100, I was irritated, and I had really had that moment where I went like, oh, we're making everybody gay now. This doesn't make any sense. Clarke should be with Bellamy. That was me when I was like 13, 14, unfortunately.
Hating on gay people became part of my lifestyle.
And I had all of this hatred in my heart. But even though I was very much homophobic at the time, I came to understand when her death happened. I came to understand, oh, this is not cool. A couple of years later, when I finally came to terms with a few things about myself, I rewatched some episodes, some edits, and suddenly it just clicked. To myself, I always say I got to experience them for a second time in a completely different light. And it just clicked and it made sense, and I was sitting there and I was like, dang, this is a totally different show now. This is so much better. I finally get it. This is the person for Clarke. What were we doing? So that's my personal attachment, because when it came to learning and accepting things about myself, they were the first couple that I kind of like fully connected with in that sense. And that's why I have a personal attachment to them, and that's why they are legendary lovers to me. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Dami, I think they're rent-free for me. Such a unique story. It's not a ghost story, it's a love story. They deserve their flowers. It is so sad. I can't rewatch Bly Manor. I don't think I'll ever be able to do that. It was such a beautiful story. Jamie, like, in the pond, like, trying to get the love of her life back. If you can't feel anything, then I'll feel everything for the both of us. Ooh. They were so unique and important. And Doomed Yuri. I love Doomed Yuri, so rent-free. Why did I even bother to make the not for me category? Harl Ivy. They are definitely like between rent-free and good soup. I might just put them in good soup because I think it's recent bias because I have not watched them in a hot minute. So I think they're good soup right now. I feel like if I were to rewatch Harley Quinn right now, then they would be rent-free. Honestly, it's okay, we're gonna leave them in good soup, but I love their journey.
The journey is usually the part that you remember anyways.
I love this interpretation of Harley Quinn. I think I did read that in recent comics, people broke them up. I'm not sure about that. I saw some outrage that people were not happy with where the comics were taking the relationship, but on the show, on the cartoon, they're so cute. Ivy helping her like get away and get over the Joker, and it's so cute. And then when they finally have Kite Man out of the way.
I encourage cheating.
And the true loves kiss, BFFs, GFFs. I love them. Okay, we're kind of branching into the legacies of it all. All right, the first one I'm seeing right here is Hizzy, but I think I'm gonna start with Hosey, which is right next to it. Maybe you know this, maybe you don't, but Legacies was a huge part of my life. I would say in like 2020, 2021, until maybe like 2023, potentially, 2022. I don't know. It was a huge part of my life. It was a show where I made crack videos and then actually transitioned into making the crack reacts. I might have removed season 4 reactions from my channel because it's now years later. I'm like, man, I was really delusional.
What gave you the confidence?
Delusion.
I felt kind of embarrassed and I think I privated them. When it comes to legacies, my main reason to watch this show was that I was really interested in Hope as a character. I also had a huge crush on Danielle Rose Russell, so that was the main reason, honestly. And one of the first things I noticed about the show that kind of moved me was Josie. I think Josie is the strongest couple and should have been the couple on the show, and therefore they are for me going into rent-free because they lived rent-free in my head for years. I consumed so much content, lurking a lot and also active in the fandom with my crack videos, the Legacies fandom, specifically the subgroup, the Josie fandom. I have friends that I made in that fandom that I still talk to this very day. It also always kind of adds to it when actors really ship their characters, and that, at least in the beginning, that was also the case. Like, everyone was really pushing for it. They are canon to me. To other people, they're not. To me, they are. Oh, or should I put them in I Wish I'd Been Your Writer? No, they are they were such a huge part of my life. They should be rent-free, but I wish I'd been their writer because there was literally no way. We had them both confirmed as queer characters. They were both confirmed to have had crushes on each other in the past. They were constantly choosing each other over other characters. Like, Hope chose Josie over Landon multiple times when she had to save the Saltzmans, or Landon and she saved the Saltzmans because that's her family. That's her family-in-law, basically. Josie also chose Hope. Always the Lizzie line where she's like, you're more concerned, like, our father's in a coma and you're more concerned about the person who put him there. Buzzy. They had so much buzz, and it's still so unfortunate that we never got to experience it. But yeah, they were rent-free. They were a huge part of my life. Honestly, they might low-key also border on legendary lovers, simply because of how much time, like, it took me years to get over them. Also, don't get me started on No Humanity Hope and Dark Josie and the potential behind that.
Does that sound like something you want?
Yes.
Well, let me tell you, you'll never get it.
I wish I'd been your writer, honestly. Keep it in the Legacies family and immediately go to Izzie, which I kind of get the Izzie vision, I do. But to me, Hope and Lizzie always had that sister-in-law dynamic. Hear me out, I really love that. We got to see it in the Vampire Diaries universe in the originals, Haley and Rebecca and Haley and Freya. I just love how much development those characters got, or those relationships actually got. How they went from, you know, standoffish, not really thinking much of each other, to being like fully like family. That's why I always kind of really loved the Izzie dynamic in that sense. They don't really get along at first, or they pretend to not like each other, but see, like deep down they would die for each other in a sense. I get and understand why people, especially in the final season, were latching on and were kind of rooting for a romantic development between them, or why some people are arguing there was romantic implications in there because of the Lizzie getting sire to Hope. But it was not for me. Well, or do I put them in good for them because I do love their dynamic. I just fully find it platonic. No, it wasn't for me. Since we're here, let's do Posey, and that immediately goes in there as well. I'm sorry. I know that there are some Posey shooters out there, and I get it. There was amazing chemistry. What my issue was, we never saw them as a couple. We never fully saw the development. I often feel like that with characters that get together off screen, where you don't really see the yearning, the development. I mean, they did have yearning, to be fair. And then also Penelope left before we could fully go into it further, unfortunately. But they were not for me. Sorry, not sorry. I'm seeing Jackie Shauna there for Yellow Jackets, which means I'm just gonna grab Taiwan and put them up here. Sorry, I'm taking liberty to do that. Taiwan are legendary lovers. It might have to do with the fact that I've recently kind of immersed myself back in Yellow Jackets and I've rewatched some episodes, and it's just... I still think about how I was bawling my eyes out when Van died.
It's hard to watch.
It is.
Die?
That did something to me. I think I'll never fully get over it.
Trauma. PTSD. Trauma.
I don't think enough people appreciate this relationship and this dynamic, because what we have here is we have a 25-year-long angsty Yuri thing going on, and I'm still so excited for the final season where they hopefully show us more about how, you know, they eventually broke up and why. Don't get me started. Like, there's so much to unpack with them. We get to see them as teenagers in the wilderness in such an extreme situation, but they're kind of this because they are our main couple in the teen timeline and they are our main couple in the adult timeline. I don't care. I don't think I appreciate it enough how insane it is that we get to see a relationship like this that has this 25-year development. Like we don't see that in other shows. Legendary, if you ask me. And I can't wait for season 4. And I hope you're gonna watch that with me because I'll definitely watch it on the channel. We're still in the Yellow Jackets universe. Let's think about where we put Jackie Shauna. And this is controversial, I think, but let's say good soup. I see the vision. I fully get it. I think it's also one of the most important and interesting dynamics on Yellow Jackets. This relationship is kind of the root of Shauna's character, or the tether of her character. Like so much that her character does ties back to Jackie and to this relationship that in my opinion is also kind of canon, and it's so important to the show and to Shauna as the main character. But yeah, I don't like, there are other couples on Yellow Jackets that have kind of consumed me more. Taiwan being one of them, for example. And I don't even want to say it out loud, but I'm a Lottie Nat person, so the potential, because that's also non-canon, so it's also like the potential of that is always in the back of my mind. But yeah, I love Jackie Shauna. I love their dynamic. I think it's incredibly important. They haven't reached rent-free status for me yet because I've clicked more with Taiwan and Lottie Nat, which I didn't even put in here because controversial. Don't kill me. Like, I can already see the tomatoes that are flying at me at high speeds, but don't kill me. I'm sorry. Okay, let's do Leighton and Alicia from Sex Lives of College Girls. They, for me, go in the good for them category. I like them. I think the confrontation where they kind of have their first kiss, or in a way kind of get together, that's such a fun moment. You're 5 feet tall or something. I fully with their conflict where it's like, well, I don't want to go back in the closet, and then Leighton being like, well, I don't want to come out of the closet. I think that's a very valid conflict to have, where both sides are valid and that it is complicated and all that. They were good, like, good for them. I loved seeing them together. I am glad that they ended up with each other in a way, right? Those were the implications in the final season. But yeah, they never fully went like rent-free for me personally. I'm sorry about that. They're the only couple I put in here because I've already established my thing with blondes.
Actually, can I have 5 more of these little blonde bitches?
So Leighton and Tatum, people were really rooting for them, and I have to admit that even though they were both blonde and kind of looked like each other, I did kind of vibe with them. I do feel like Leighton and Alicia is superior. I will say though, in the final season, who I really was rooting for was Bella and Taylor. They were buzzy. They were giving me the buzz. I was there. What other like unique ones do I have? Oh, I have Tabagen right here, which might be not that common for people. I'm gonna put it in good soup or in I Wish I'd Been Your Writer. So that's Tabby and Imogen from Pretty Little Liars Original Sin. I really, really love their dynamic. I'm gonna talk about them real quick and then maybe put them in a different category. They were so stinking cute. Their dynamic was what really kind of tethered me to the show. Strong bond and friendship that I just loved seeing it, and I loved the development, and I think there was subtext there and implications there, and we could have gone there. So in a way, I wish I'd been your writer, because I kind of I didn't react to season 2. I think I reacted to season 1, but I didn't to season 2, because when it started coming out, people were already kind of complaining about it, so I never bothered to. I kind of hated that they both got, like, why would we give them love interests when they have each other, basically?
Why would a man be there? Why would a man be there? No, it's actually pissing me off!
Tabby was not the stepmom. She was the mom who stepped up for the baby. And I would have loved to see them develop romantic feelings for each other. The subtext was there, in my opinion. So I do wish I'd been their writer, but I also thought they were good soup. Put them there, because I just really love their relationship, even on a platonic level. Leave them there. You get it or you don't. Oh, let's do Step Roll. I'm gonna put them in rent-free, because Step Roll, Sterling and April, teenage bounty hunters on Netflix, they were so good. Childhood friends to enemies to lovers, so much angst, homophobia, small town, I arrested your dad because I'm a bounty hunter, like that kind of vibe. One of my biggest losses too, when it comes to Netflix. They deserve the rent-free spot. They do. They were so cool. I still think about them sometimes, and it's been years. I'm looking at Swan Queen. Maybe I'll put them here. Yeah, I'll put them here actually. They had a whole child together basically. And they had so many moments too, so much subtext where they could have just gone for it, the writers I mean. They had amazing chemistry, obviously in multiple moments where they were always kind of willing to go above and beyond for each other. Swan Queen, I wish I'd been your writer because then you would have ended up together because you deserve to. Let's put another ship where I wish I'd been your writer in here, Ronans, because I love them. And now looking back at it, I really think Stranger Things could have done it. It feels like a wasted opportunity to me. I just think it was so funny because everyone was always talking about Nancy's love triangle and Jonathan or Steve of it all. And it would have been such a cool plot twist to have her end up with Robin, right? One of my favorite dynamics in season 4, I think. They could have easily done it. Simply in season 3 when Robin confesses to Steve that she's gay, or like confesses, she comes out to Steve and she's like, I had a crush on Tammy Thompson basically. And he's like, oh, Tammy Thompson's a girl. How easily? You could have just put in, I had a crush on Nancy Wheeler. I wish I'd been your writer. And the actors shipped it as well. But yeah, Ronans, I think it could have easily happened. I think it would have been so fun. Such a fun way to kind of mess with the fans. Be like the character that's been in a love triangle with 2 men, basically from the start of season 1. And we end season 5 with her getting together with a girl. With all the writing decisions we made in that final season, this could have been a really good one. Just saying. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm gonna do something people will attack me for. I don't care. I'm doing the thing where the canon couple goes in a category or in a tier worse than the non-canon one. Sue me. I really did like Vickie as a character. I think she added something in that final season. I really appreciated that once she realized Robin wasn't lying, she immediately clocked in. But we didn't get to see most of their development. A lot of it happened off screen in between seasons. Never fully vibed with it. It felt a bit like, oh, we need a girlfriend for her. Let's give her one. They were not on par with Ronans. Sorry. Let's go with the Wilds. We've got Shauna here, which is another enemies to lovers canon ship. I think it goes without saying for both of the ships that I have in here that belong to the Wilds that I wish I'd been their writer. We wish we had gotten a different season 2. I believe everyone can agree on that, right? Because they deserved so much better. I love them. They were good soup. They had the enemies to lovers dynamic, the grumpy sunshine dynamic. They had amazing tropes, and I really loved them as individual characters as well. They were never fully like rent-free. Maybe it was because that second season ruined a lot in my brain chemistry. Let's talk about the second ship that I have here for the Wilds, which is Leah and Fatin. I'm gonna put them right there with Shauna, which again may be a bit controversial that the non-canon ship, but are they actually non-canon though? They had the longing looks, they had the development, they had the backstory too, because they were from the same school. And I will never forget the Shelby Fatin scene where it's like, everything I do is for her. And then Fatin is like, ditto, different her. Hello, Buzzy. They were in Buzztopia over there. Those two ships had a bunch of parallels as well, which is why I think they actually go well together in that same category. But Leah and Fatin, for me, maybe it is the appeal because they never had a kiss or a full-on like canon confirmation. Maybe that's why I personally feel like I've read more Leah Fatin fanfiction than Shauna fanfiction, sorry. Also, you can take the opportunity for all of these ships. If you have amazing fics, drop them in the comments. I will be looking and reading. But yeah, I think both of these ships are amazing. The Wilds is extremely underrated, especially when it comes to the acting. I think everyone now is talking about Sarah Pigeon because she's been in a whole bunch of projects, but if you want to see a Sarah Pigeon masterclass, you should watch The Wilds. No one else could have played Leah Rilke like that. Like I said, both of those could also go in the I wish I'd been your writer category because I genuinely wish we had gotten more girls in the second season and less boys. Way Hot for me is a rent-free couple. I already talked about my homophobic phase. They might have been the couple that got me out of it, to be honest. I remember I was kind of homophobic still, and I tuned in for Winona Earp season 1. And the second they meet, even I, as a low-key homophobic person at the time, was like, oh my god, they have to date. So see where I'm going with this? Maybe they even have legendary lovers in my household because they did something to me. They all took my brain chemistry in that sense because I was sitting there with my internalized homophobia. And even I was going, oh, now that's a ship. And I do love that we got so much development with them until they eventually got married. I'm not going into detail because it's been a while since I've watched, but I loved them and still do. When Claire, for me, is good soup. they have the potential to reach rent-free status if they become canon, I think.
They were roommates.
Oh my god, they were roommates.
I just love the potential behind it, and I do love their friendship as well. They have the grumpy sunshine dynamic down on lock. Well, I mean, I guess there are people out there, but if you watch Wednesday and you genuinely like come out of it shipping her with either of the boys, I don't think we can be friends. Sorry. The only relationship that makes sense for Wednesday is Enid. I don't think I have to elaborate on that. Enid finally was able to turn into a werewolf for her. Enid is now stuck in werewolf form because of her, or for her. Wednesday is leaving school to go look for her. Bruh. That's all I'm gonna say. KC, that would be Kate and Lucy from NCIS Hawaii. They're a good soup for me. They have amazing development as well. They have this huge miscommunication. Honestly, at times I was a bit annoyed. I was like, okay, we've done enough miscommunication. Can we actually talk now?
Let's go, lesbians, let's go!
I love their dynamic, and I loved that we got to see them as a couple and we got kind of the back and forth. I loved the way that their relationship was also kind of handled by all the other characters. Not much left to say. I think it's such a loss that that show got cancelled. There's so many NCIS variants, and this actually could have been so much more fun to see that one, and they had so much more story to tell. They would have gotten married in the next season probably. The Newlyweds episode where they're pretending to be wives, so cute too. Amazing chemistry. The height difference is cute. Not much to add. Good soup. Staying on theme kind of with a crime show, we're going to Gemily. And maybe this is also new to some people, but I'm a huge Criminal Minds girly. There's a mug back there. It's right here. It says, I'd rather be watching Criminal Minds. And that is true. I also have like most of the seasons on DVD. That's my show. That's my comfort show. I put that on for background noise. I rewatch Criminal Minds every year, basically. The second I am through all the episodes, I go back to the first one. And I love Gemily as a dynamic, as a ship. Honestly, rent-free. They raised me, basically. I was never watching Criminal Minds for Spencer, like all the other girls. No, I was always watching it for JJ and Emily.
I got my girls.
20-year-long Yuri, basically. They got the reboot, and now Emily and JJ are kind of the leads in the reboot, which is amazing. And in general, I love their dynamic, even if they never have the romantic moment or the kiss or whatever. They live rent-free in my mind simply for the amount of time you got to experience and you got to watch their relationship develop, from co-workers to friends to support system to my boyfriend wanted to have a threesome with us.
Close friends, besties, roommates, colleagues.
I kind of hope the writers will lean into it. So actually, maybe I wish I'd been your right. Okay, actually, let's put them there. Because if I had been their writer, they would have already married in like season 7 or something. I wish I'd been their writer because Emily is a lesbian. If they become canon, legendary lovers, because then we're talking 20-year development, and that's hard to follow. But that's something that I find so satisfying, especially when you watch Gemily edits, that we have, like, we watch these people grow, basically. I was raised by them. They're my mothers. Okay, we have one ship left. This ship is the reason why I wanted to do this, because I think they're severely underrated. Immediately, a legendary lovers ship. This is Root and Shaw from Person of Interest. Right now, they are my hyperfixation. Back in the day when Person of Interest was airing, I was aware of it. I always got their scenes recommended, which is funny because that was my homophobic phase. So why did I always get their scenes recommended? Much to think about. I would always watch their scenes and I had no idea what the show was about. I had no context, but I was always like, interesting. What I remember, I believe the Lexa and Root death was pretty back-to-back, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it might have actually been like hit after hit after hit, basically. But I remember also learning about what was happening there and then also being like, oh, like that kind of sucks. I'd always watch their clips and some edits, but only recently did they add Person of Interest to German Netflix, and I immediately clocked it and was like, this is my chance to finally watch the show. Person of Interest in general is an amazing show. Amazingly crafted, well-made show, and watching it this year was actually kind of crazy because the whole show, you know, is about AIs and the dangers of AIs, and we're watching the characters try to avoid the AI apocalypse, and now we're sitting here and we're living it. And then if you look at Root and Shaw's dynamic, I don't think there's ever gonna be a dynamic like that. Their dynamic is so unique and so special, and so many tropes that I never thought I would love or I would need more of. First off, it is enemies to lovers. Forced proximity because they're kind of like forced to work together. Orange cat, black cat maybe, because I would never say that Rude is a golden retriever, no. Grumpy Sunshine, definitely Grumpy Sunshine. And then also this very unique dynamic of character A being in love with character B from the moment they meet until the very end, until the bitter end, and character B not being interested and kind of suffering through years of flirting from character A until character B finally gives in. Character A annoyed character B into falling in love, kind of. That's their dynamic. There might be some spoilers in what I'm about to say. It is doomed Yuri, but it's also not like, it doesn't feel like a bury your gaze in the end. Like Rude, in my opinion, has one of the most round character arcs I've ever seen, honestly. Didn't feel like a disservice to her character, which is often the case with doomed Yuri and with bury your gaze, but in my opinion, Rude is not bury your gaze. Actually, I choose to believe, obviously, the little smile Shaw has in the end. I choose to believe that Rude is alive and faked her death. Their dynamic is so much fun. The constant flirting from Rude, the constant eye rolls from Shaw, but the eye rolls become more and more endeared. If you haven't watched it, please watch it. It's so good. It's so unique. I believe they deserve legendary lovers status because they were able to do something that a lot of ships on this list weren't able to do. They were not intended to be the lead dynamic, the romantic dynamic of the show. They ended up being it because the writers decided to go for it. The actors were told by the writers, kind of like, act like your characters have hooked up before. And Amy Acker, she went to work. Every line she delivers towards Shaw is with sexual innuendo. She showed up to flirt with Sarah Shahi and got paid for it, which is, like, imagine that. Can I have the job, please? The actors realized they had chemistry. The writers realized they had chemistry. The fans realized they had chemistry. Everybody realized they had that chemistry. This is what the fans want to see. Let's do it. Like, I'm looking at Supercorp and I'm like, see, it works. Like, you can do it. You can do fan service, basically. You can, like, the fans are watching the show. There is undeniable potential and chemistry there. Let's just go for it. Let's do it. As you can tell, that's my recent obsession because I've recently rewatched it, or I guess technically it is my first proper watch through, even though I knew everything. But I'm so obsessed with it right now, and that's why I put them, honestly, yeah, because they made it out of the queer bait. They were never queer baiting with Rude and Shaw. Let's just put it that way. They never did. I'm gonna look at this list again and I'm gonna decide if I'm gonna flip things around. All right, that's my oddly specific, what did I call it? I think I called the template oddly specific WLW TV ships. Beautiful. Like I said, this was basically just an excuse for me to yap about sapphic ships and have somebody hopefully listen. Yeah, I encouraged you to take a look at my list, maybe come up with your own list, try the lists for yourselves. I'll put the link in the description. Obviously, would love to read some comments where you maybe put your own 2 cents in why certain ships mean a lot to you. I'd love to know if you share some, maybe even some experiences, like the internalized homophobia phase that I had, for example. If you maybe have different unique experiences, like, let me know. I also want to take a quick moment to apologize for disappearing for such a long time. It's just been rough. I started freelancing and self-employment, and it's been a journey trying to, you know, get customers, trying to land projects, trying to also understand taxes and everything. Basically adulting. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that I want to watch with you, but at the same time I also want to do more original content, maybe more like this. Let me know in the comments if there's something you want me to do. Thank you so much for watching me yap for I don't know how many minutes, not so straight. I hope all of you have a good Pride month. Happy Pride to all of you. I hope you spend it well and you have fun with friends, found family, and you can kind of celebrate yourself and others during this month. Thank you so much for watching and hopefully enjoying this video. I hope I could tickle some smiles out of you today, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye bye.